Hey everyone, welcome to the Therapists Deserve Abundance podcast. This is your host, Dr. TK, licensed clinical psychologist and the number one therapist business coach. So, we are going live today on YouTube, a little bit different for our interviews. And I have brought to you today Dr. Rochelle Robinson. And so she is a psychologist. She is in New York. I'm going to allow her to introduce the deets about what she does in her career and in her business. But I definitely want to thank everybody for joining in on the YouTube podcast show and or later as a recording and or if you're listening on the podcast. And so welcome Dr. Rochelle to the show.
Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Rowe. I am a New York State licensed psychologist. I am a certified school psychologist. I am a college professor. I am an author and the owner of Pivotal Point Psychological Consulting PLLC, where I help teenagers and young adults make authentic decisions with confidence. So thank you for having me here today.
Yes, thanks for coming. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I know that the viewers and listeners, they haven't seen someone on our YouTube interview in a while. And so I wanted to kick off the wrap of this first quarter, and it is Happy Women's Day, right? Woo! But I wanted to introduce to clinicians a area that I don't dive too deep on anymore, and that's the other side of your business, which is scaling. And so for those who are joining us, I just want to first go over the general definition of growth versus scale. So grow is more of a linear process, and that is when you can be making more money, you can be seeing more clients, but the problem is that you may be bottlenecking in your business. And what that means is that your business is pretty much ran by how you show up, when you show up, and you can only go so far, especially with one-on-one services. Then we have this other side of business under the Branding for Abundance umbrella, our company, which is teaching therapists how to then scale their business, which means that you're going to make more money while earning less. And so what I thought that we do is take the viewers and the listeners on first a journey of where you started. I named this topic today, leaving 9 to 5 job and creating exit plans and what that was like for you, being able to pre-sale a whole lot of books, right? And showing up as the best version of you. And then also being able to scale your business. And so let's go all the way back. Where did you go to school for grad school and what made you get into this field?
Okay, so when I graduated from high school, I went to this very expensive school. It was all great. And then my parents were like, this is a lot of money. And you have brothers. So I actually transferred schools. I went to Wilberforce University. It's the first historically Black college in the United States. So I big
Wow.
them up all the time. And when I transferred there, um, I originally was an education major. So I knew that I wanted to work with kids. I did some student teaching over the summer. And I realized that 30 kids in one room all day long was not going to be my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I really enjoyed doing one-on-one work with them. And when I came back to school, I said, okay, let's make a shift. If I do psychology, that's cool, but what can I do with that? Because I still want to work with kids. I like being in
Right.
schools. So, how do I do this? And my advisor said, well, there's school psychology. You can be in schools, you can do that too. So, I said, okay, well, I'm not really sure what this is, but let's go for it. And she was very big on when students are in my class, they go on and they get doctorates. So
Mm.
I don't just have students get their master's degree, they go further than that. And I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm going to do. So I came back home I went to Fordham University in New York City, which I really liked because it was diverse.
Mhm.
I was very clear that I wanted to work with students who look like me, and I wanted them to see me to know what they could become.
That's good.
So I went to Fordham, and then for my doctorate, I went to Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey, which to me was just eye opening because they were very big on, okay, so you have a job, let's bring those issues here and let's dive into them. So I was a part of a cohort where everyone helped each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really great. Of course, the dissertation process is one where you're by yourself and you're like, oh, I don't have my friends here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the faculty was so supportive of what I was doing, which for me was very big.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to make sure that I had professors that understood me because I was very culturally based. Like I came from an HBCU where we looked at psychology through the eyes of people who look like us.
Right.
And that's what my research was on. And I just had to make sure that the people who were on my team understood that.
Mm-hmm.
So my grad process, although it was tough, I had some really good people surrounding me. So that was good.
Yeah, yeah. It also sounds like what was really important is you had somebody in your corner that not only paved the way and gave you guidance to what step was next, but they
Mm.
also showed you the picture of what could be. And it
Yeah.
seems as though, even from my conversations within like our communities, depending on the programs, is that some people can be introduced to the first step, but the reason why they don't go all in and finish the
Mm,
course, like the marathon versus the sprint, is that they
mm,
don't see where their life could be 10, 15, 20 years from now. This is where I see
mm,
as a college professor where I've had a lot of students, they weren't my students to begin with, but they end up coming back to college. If you even got that catch, they had to come back because they realized that they did not think about the full picture until they
yes.
actually got out there and they didn't have a guy, a guidance counselor, a college counselor, a mentor that is a professor, to
Mm,
also know what the ending course looks like. And so,
right,
what I want to highlight to everybody is that it's really important for mentorship, but it's also very important that you ask high quality questions. Because if I have a
right,
mentor and they're telling me, oh, yeah, you need to get a doctorate degree, a high quality question would be, well, what is at the end of a result after a PsyD degree? Like,
right.
tell me what's going to come out of me spending 4 more years in school outside of
Listen.
just a job. Like, I need to hear a lot more than that, because I can get a job right now and just get promotions,
Right.
So, okay. So that was awesome with you. And thank you for that, sharing the journey. So let's fast forward time. Okay, let's
Mm,
actually, so we're going to do this episode a little bit different. Typically, we talk about, and we're going to do this, but later on, talk about like the work that you're doing now. But I want
mm,
to speed up things because we're talking about mindset. So I want to stay on
right.
that topic for a little bit. We
Hmm.
met almost 5 years ago. Can you
Yeah.
share with our audience what was going on in your mind first before the teacher appeared? So, what was happening in your career, at your job, to even make you think like, I should probably be thinking about entrepreneurship?
It was really interesting because I thought about this and I said, "Oh wow, I don't think that I've shared this with you." But I was at my dream job, so what I thought was going to be it for me. I was very comfortable there, um, but I was not supported there. So in February of 2018, they told me that I wasn't going to come back. That
Oh,
we're going in a different direction. That's the code word for you, you're out of here.
wow.
And I was devastated, and I was really at a point where I said, I will never let my livelihood be dependent upon one person and one organization and one school. So, I mean, what I did leave with was someone who signed off on my supervision hours. So all I had to do was take the licensing exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I was clear that I'm going to start a practice, and I was literally like, I'm gonna start a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Having nothing, just no direction, no guidance, just this is what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, what do I need to do this? You know? I was like,
It's good that you got a dream, but now you're like the logical part. What am I supposed to do now?
yeah, how is it? How am I doing this? So, um, I was on YouTube. I was reaching out to different people who were in practice, like, okay, what do I need to do? How do how do I get started? Do I just see people? Do they just come in and I just go?
Mhm.
And they were like, no, 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 you got to do this. But no one really gave me a clear explanation or a map of what to
Mhm.
do first. And I was on Instagram, and somebody that I follow, they liked one of your photos.
Mhm.
And I was just kind of like in this search online of Black psychologists. I didn't even know coaching was a thing. So I didn't know to use like the terminology. I was just like,
Yeah.
I just need somebody Black that's doing this, that
Hmm.
will listen to my
That's
questions.
interesting. I'm gonna write that. You're gonna see me write notes. Go ahead. I'm like, that's interesting right there.
Right, like, I was just really like, "Okay, so who is going to, like, help me?" And a friend liked one of your posts, and I went to your page, and I think you had just left New York, or you were here, like, recently, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like, okay." So, she was here. So it's not somebody that's random, that's just coming up and whatever.
Mhm.
And the other thing that was in my head, and you're gonna laugh, is I was like, she's from Compton too. I was like, oh shoot. I was like, she's about the business then. Like, okay, so let me see what's going on. And I stalked you for a while. I did because
Well, let me ask a question, and I'm asking this for a reason because this is actually the very thing that we teach our clients in all of our programs. Approximately from your memory, how long were you following me after you found me before you made your move?
it was maybe like 2 months.
Okay.
It
And
was
you know why I'm talking about this because again, I find that when I get to know therapists in the programs or those who are interested, they get in my DM and they text me and they want a fast result like a sprint. They want
mhm.
me to, give them access to the program. They know the program will take time, but they want to be able even to see results as soon as they join. And I'm like, how many of your clients actually sign up with you as soon as they see you? You think they do, but that means that you're not asking the right questions because a lot of them don't. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So no, it's so true. And then I remember I was at work, and I saw your thing. I went to the website. I looked at the forms to fill out, and I was like, okay, okay, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I was at work, and I think I had a rough day, and I was like, shoot, let me just go to this form now, and see what can happen. And I filled it out. I don't want to say I was surprised that you responded back, but I was like,
No,
"Oh
but let's talk
shoot."
about that because I'm having you pull out all these things because I have been working with you like not the longest, but in terms of like who's showing up in the programs now, you are one of my OGs. I always say that to like a cluster of y'all. And I want therapists to really, really understand that not all people are even accessible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so you're
Yeah.
speaking to things that people assume. And then that is actually the very reason why some of them still have not even
Mm.
showed up to a boot camp because they think that I'm not going to respond to like a comment in the box. So
Yeah.
speak to that freely, please. Because
Yeah. Like I didn't DM you, but I was definitely on the website because I was just like, okay, if I'm gonna be real about this, then let me be professional and do the quote unquote right thing. So I sent the information in, and we set up a call. And again, this was 5 years ago. So I don't even think Zoom was as big as it is now. Well, it
no.
wasn't, but I don't even know if it was really a thing. And when you said, okay, we're going to do a video chat, I was like, a video chat? How, like, I'm going to see you? I was like, well, how does this even work? And, the questions just started, and it really made me sit and ponder and think about what I was going to do, and who I really wanted to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to front. I was at work like, I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. I don't need to do nothing. And I'm going to have a practice with, and it was like, okay, so what else?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the structure of how you're going to do this, and who do you really want to work with?
Mm-hmm. And how many
So those
clinicians actually stop and ask themselves those questions before they roll out of bed to open up a practice? Let's be all the way real.
listen,
Put a
because I was like,
yes,
I will take any and anybody.
yes.
I was like, I just got to get paid. That's all I have to do.
Wait, hold
And
on.
I'll
So listen, to the people who are viewing this right now, put a 1 in the comment box if you are either the person or you know of another therapist that lacked the structure, probably didn't know that they were lacking it, and they just low key rolled out of bed and said, all I need to do is just see clients so I can get paid. Because for a lot of therapists, that is their first mentality because they're running away from their job. So they're just trying to fill in the void to get paid. And I'm not saying that that's the wrong thing, because if it's a toxic environment, sometimes you got to get out, but you still need to at some point slow down to ask yourself quality questions. How can I make this consistent where I'm not doing so much?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I was about to be all over the place.
Okay.
I
So
really
you
was.
did that. I see people putting 1s in the box. So you did that. We set up a call. You realize, what did you realize in terms of connecting with me? Because I know right now we don't do calls, but we do things like boot camps where people can engage with me. We do, we do Instagram, whatever. So what were your thoughts when you actually had preconceived notions about what it might be like, and then you showed up to the call? What was the energy like?
Um, I saw that you were very excited, but also very organized. Like, okay, let's put some guardrails here to what you're trying to do. And that was what I needed. Like I really needed somebody to like reel me in.
Uh-huh.
So that happened very, very quickly. And I was like, okay, but it also allowed me to just kind of see like the areas that I needed to focus on and
Mm-hmm.
really get serious about what I was going to do and how I was going to brand myself. Even that was a whole thing that I don't even think I fully knew what brand was. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was a word that started to become popular, and everybody's like, I'm a brand, I'm branding myself. And everybody is using it, but no one is doing it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yes.
you're like, okay, well, what is your brand? So it really gave me time to work on that. And I was energized. I definitely think it made me feel like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're
Mm-hmm.
really going to do a practice. Like, we're going to start a practice and be organized with it and have this be a really good foundation for what's to come.
Mm-hmm. So let me give other
So,
people. I like to be transparent. So let me let people all the way in, just a little bit more than probably what you heard on my podcast, because I spill all the tea on air. And so my business has been evolving on the coaching side since around 2016. I met you 2 years later. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, I've been a coach for 20 years. Like, no, I've been a college professor for almost 20 years. I do syllabus structure. But in terms of
mhm,
coaching, what I want people to really hear through this narrative is just start, right?
yeah,
So when I was first coaching clinicians, it was by divine timing, but my language is it was on accident. But nothing is ever on accident, as we know. But that's how I described it
right.
for a while, because it was more of people kind of like what you said. You just saw what I was doing and you were like, well, I want to do that too. How do you do it? Can you teach me? And then it was the magic words, which were, how much do you charge for you to just like share this with me? So I'm like, oh, people want to like pay for me to do this. I wasn't giving them like hours at a time, but it was like, chit chat text, like one liners, but I'm like, oh, people want to actually spend time like with me. Okay. And
Yeah.
so, I put a sticker price on it, and then people were just doing one time things, like just 1 hour. And then that grew into, oh no, like, how do I get like something tangible from you? Like, do you have any homework? And I'm like, oh, y'all wanted kind of like what I do with therapy. Okay. So then I had to sit down and think, what does this remind me of? Takesha, you're a professor. You give homework
Mhm.
all the damn time. You create workbooks at the drop of a dime in the middle of a therapy session and print it out for your clients. Like, that's what I was doing for therapy clients. My teenagers, I would be like, hey, I'm going to listen to some music or do this little journaling prompt. I'm about to hop on this computer, type out your homework real quick. I just want people to see how evolving this has been, right?
Yeah.
So I went
Yeah.
from doing that stuff to therapy, that then clearly just transitioning that same energy into coaching. Because then when you came on board, it was, I think, one person before you, Dr. Tanisha, that was out here. She said I needed to leave my job in 30 days. And I'm like, woo, okay. And we did it. She left in 30 days and she now is very
Right.
profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was the first client that I created a portal with, because I was like,
Mm.
oh, if I've been taking online coaching programs, because then I started investing in myself. Now I want to create
Right.
something where it's just like what we now know as like a house for all of our materials that people can just keep going
Yeah.
back to. So I was like, oh, I like this feeling. So when you came along, I created an entirely new, it wasn't the same one, shell.
Uh-huh.
Some of it was like repurposed because y'all talked about the same thing. I started noticing a trend there, like maybe y'all can get together, but she in LA, you in New York. So I just kept
Mm.
doing one-on-ones. And then when you came from a different state, something magical happened. And I believe in
Mm.
divine timing again, because for those of you who, y'all have heard Dr. Rowe's name if you heard some of my past podcasts, especially the one where I said I manifested my first Delta One flight and I was bi-coastal and I was giving her shout outs like on 2 podcasts. So she is that person. But one
It's
thing that I
me.
want to highlight is that I intentionally went there for my birthday in September when my son was 6 months old. We did manifest those upgraded seats, right? And then I had declared before I got out there that I'm going to become bi-coastal before I even touched ground at JFK. And then it just so happened that I went and looked for an office space, because back then we weren't telehealth. And I was like, I'm about to
Right.
have a private practice in New York. It's not a big deal. I'm dreaming big. Nobody can stop me. I was like on ego float town, right? And then when I came back, that's when all this stuff started happening with you, because that was September. You reached out to me October and November. I want everybody to see the timeline when you do things
Mm-hmm.
that you're supposed to do within alignment. So
Mm-hmm.
all that happened. Dr. Rowe's part that she just shared came along in the fourth quarter, just about. And
Yep.
then something happened where you couldn't invest, because I want people to hear this too. You couldn't invest at that time. Let me ask you, did that mean that you stopped engaging with me on social media?
Not at all.
Okay, so what did
Not
you
at
do
all.
in the in-between time? Because you manifested something too. Because I got a magical email in January saying after a webinar, I'm ready to go. So,
Yeah, I mean, I will be honest, like I prayed about it and I said, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, then you're gonna make it occur. Somehow it's gonna happen. Um, I had I had no idea. And the money came. And
mhm.
I was like, oh
It did not come just to come. It came in full. Because I was
shoot.
like, oh,
Right.
you still want to do the payment option? And you were like, no.
Right. I was like, just take it all. Here, it's here. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
let's get it going.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, and it was such a relief to even begin. And I was sitting there like, oh, we have a portal, we got work to do. Like, this is some like legit stuff. I was like, she's not just on here talking about, what she's doing. Like,
Hmm.
we have work. I mean, y'all, I really, and I feel like maybe it was at a time where um I think like for me work was not really consistent.
Hmm.
So I had the time to sit down and really dive into everything.
Which also means
So
that you use the time that you had. And I believe
yeah,
that also, if people don't believe that they have the time, you do. You just have to look at like a time allocation. Where are you choosing to spend your time, right?
right.
So let me
Yeah.
just pull together the timeline, because we're going to get now up to like current date from like all of these manifestation hacks, right? And belief and prayer, and really acknowledging that you don't like where you are. So now you got to do something about it, because faith without
Yeah.
works is dead. So we went from a circle of influence tagging me and you taking inspired action. Then you following my page for a few months and just following my moves to see if I guess I'm about what I say that I'm about and really engaging, right? Then I'm
Mhm.
responsive and you get on a call with me, right? So you take another leap of faith. Then from that call, you make the decision to now invest in yourself financially, not just time watching videos on my page. because I want people to hear that sometimes it may take a process because you need to do some inner work to believe that you're also worthy of what's on the other side. So then you have the
Mhm.
consultation. I gave you the fee, and you were like, I want to do it. I'm not accepting no for an answer. I just can't right now. I'm cool with that. I ain't gonna be like, no, if you can't sign up, whatever. Unless it's like more limited spots. It wasn't at that time. And so
Right.
then what we did is, if I think I didn't hear from you for like a month outside of social media. So I actually emailed you and said, hey,
Mhm.
I know that you told me you would hit me when you're ready. So in the meantime, I'm about to feed you some more free content. And for those who are following me now, you probably you got an exponential level of that right now. But I was still in the beginning phases. So I said, I'm doing a webinar. It's on mindset. Why don't you go ahead and show
Mhm.
up? It's free. You know what I'm saying? You were like, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and sign up. So I'm still nurturing my audience, even though they can't
Mhm.
sign up with me right now. Hashtag delayed gratification for those of you who were on my YouTube last week. Be patient and stop rushing stuff. Marathon.
Yeah.
Okay. So then she ended up manifesting the money because she was doing her inner work. Then she ended up taking another leap of faith and she signed up. And what's great about it is what she said is that I delivered, because that is really important when you make a financial investment. Okay. So I over
Listen.
delivered. Then when I delivered, something happened in April, because that's where I came back with just my husband for his birthday. And then we did a whole surprise situation where I said something like the week or two before, hey, are you working? She said, yes. And I said, well, oh, can you get off? She said, why? And I said, oh, well, me and Ivory coming for his birthday, and I'm also coming for an event. And the event just so happened to be in New York. Do you want to meet up for one of your sessions? Because at that time you have 4 sessions, I believe, or 6. So I
Yeah.
said, one of
Mhm.
the sessions, I'm going to actually allow it to be in person. Let's just hot seat it in one day for 4 hours. I'm going to give you some bonus time. And she was like,
Look,
what? Called off work. What happened?
I was like, deuces. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all gonna be okay.
Okay.
And
So,
I feel like I
yes.
got my life in those 4 hours.
Right. She came
Like,
with her folder,
hold up.
y'all. She came with her folder with me on the cover. Like, girl, I'm organized. Look at me. You so
I
proud of
had a
me?
binder.
Yes. And I was like, Ivory, my husband was like, damn, she really got a binder. Dang, like they really listened to what you say.
Listen.
Because that was part of the instructions. Get a 3-ring binder, 1 inch or more. So she came with the binder, y'all. And the reason why I'm highlighting it before I have her talk about where she is now is that I need people to understand. I said need, not want. I really need everybody to understand that you can't just jump into my mastermind. Because some people just see the mastermind. They're like, oh, I'm there. I want streams of income. Take your time, because we
Mm-hmm.
only talking about 6 months 5 years ago, right? So speed things up. You do that. You do one-on-one coaching with me, and then I think I'm in New York again for like the following year. It was actually the year
Yeah.
after, right? And I was for my same coach at the same event, right? Me and Ivory. So I said something came over me when I was at my mastermind, and I said I'm gonna invite my alumni that have done low key DTA before DTA was DTA with me one on one. One of the biggest things I felt like they were missing was a community. So because they've
Mhm.
invested a certain amount of money already into one on one, I'm just going to grandfather them in for a certain amount. They just got to pay a little small entry fee one time, and they can get unlimited
Mhm.
access to DTA no matter what. That was the respect that
Yeah.
I paid back to the people who invested in themselves and trusted me with the process. So Rose said, yeah. She came back. After that, smooth selling. So she went from there. Tell us about, you got licensed, because some people are struggling with that right now. So briefly
Yeah.
share us the licensure to, yeah, business.
So licensure was a struggle, and that was why I actually took a break, because I felt like I had this whole business plan here, but the licensing exam was really tough for me, and I actually used our mindset conversations to help me get over that hump,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a challenge. So once that was done, I was ready to fly. I'll honestly say I had to stop myself and just kind of say, okay, Ro, chill and rest before you get back up to move, because I was just ready to go. After that, I went back to the portal, and I just made sure that I had everything tight, that I had everything together. I went over my exit plan again, and
And what was your
is that
exit
it?
plan? Can you talk a little bit about the anxiety that you had around the exit plan?
A lot of anxiety. I there was a lot. But I will say that the portal and the podcast were very helpful because I was able to go through my little checklist of who did I need to speak to. I needed to speak with my health insurance and what that was going to look like and what I needed to do. I spoke with a CPA, I spoke with my life insurance person, but just really making sure that I did that, going through all of my bills, looking at what I had to pay, what I had to
Mm-hmm.
owe, and how much I needed to make in order to not go back to a job,
Yeah, know your
you
numbers.
know? Yeah. So that, and I obsessed over it. I was like, oh, okay, I got to do this. And when it was time to leave, it was anxiety a bit because I actually thought that I could tell them at the end of August that I was going to leave.
And
But,
what
you
year
know,
was this? Because I want people to see the timeline if they are running a sprint.
this was just last year. This was just last June.
So you got introduced to what is possible in 2018,
Yep.
okay, 2017, 2018. And then we're talking about 2021 is when you made the
Yeah.
decision to leave your job at the same time of building your business low key underground. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, it was definitely that I was working in my business. I started my practice in January 2021, and I was doing that. And I was getting things in order from like January. Like I knew that it was coming and I had like played around with the numbers and things like that, but I really got serious about what it was really going to look like. So from January to like June, I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
So that was a whole planning period. And then the last day of school, I went into the office and I was like, okay, it's like I legit had the group coaching me on what to say
So just
because
so
I
you
was like,
guys know, she joined the mastermind. When she says the group, she had DTA, but she also had joined the mastermind last year. So our first year of having the mastermind in the group again, because I was forever evolving. I'm paying attention to the feedback students are giving me one-on-one. And it seems like the common
mhm,
denominator that pushed people over the edge to abundance was the group. So some people always
yeah,
ask me, I want more one-on-one coaching. Like that's sometimes how they be coming at me in the DM. And when I say no, some people be like, why? And I'm like,
yeah,
you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how powerful a group is if you got the right people. And I choose the right people. So you joined the
yeah,
mastermind last year. And something
mhm,
happened in May during this process that you low key left out that I need them to hear, which is when you start tracking your numbers, you hit your first
oh,
12K month. Yeah,
yeah,
I told you I'm coming after all y'all students. I know your numbers. I pay attention. So in May,
yeah, I did, and I was looking like, wait a minute, let me recalculate this again. I'm like, am I sure I did this? And yeah, it did. I was like,
so everybody
oh,
put a two in the comment box and give it up for Row, even though I had to remind her
I
because
know because
things like that
I
can be
told
confirmation for you to leave. So,
yeah, no, I mean, it's because we're so busy working, working, working that
oh
if
wait,
you
say
don't
that
take a
again.
minute to just,
So you were busy
yeah,
working, working, working that you may not have done what?
may not have looked at what I was making and doing, and
And how can that keep
then
so? Hold on, stay right there. I'm about to do therapy for a minute for somebody who's listening. So if you're busy, 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 and you're not paying
mhm,
attention to your numbers, what? How does that correlate with you staying at your job?
like you're staying because you feel like I'm not going to make anything more. And it's like, but sis, if you had more hours to do what you wanted to do, you could be making a whole lot more.
Boom. Hold on. Let me pause. So let me just recap
Period.
again because I want you to hear it as well so that you can then double that 12. Okay. So when you're
Listen,
working, 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 and you're busy and you never take time to, I'm going to say these words because you know what they mean, work on your business versus working in it. If you slow down
mhm,
and actually pay attention to your back office, a lot of the students, this is how a lot of students, how we get like 2 to 4, that number is probably increased at this point, but every 2 to 4 out of 4 students who join DTA, if they have a desire to leave their 9 to 5, they end up leaving a lot sooner because they
mhm,
take the time to take the actionable steps to look
mhm,
at their numbers. But then the mindset piece that's missing that you mentioned is you also got to tweak your mindset to understand that you will earn way more than even what you're earning now once you do
mhm.
have those hours back.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like
Because
they
let me
stop.
tell you, because you will be at work like lightweight pissed, like, why am I here? And these 6 hours, I know I could be making like double this,
Listen,
you know?
yeah.
So
S-
so you will get to the point where you are not comfortable being where you are because
mm,
you're just like, I know that there's more that's out there and I know that I can do more and I can do this. So
yes.
yeah.
All right, so we've taken y'all on her journey. We've told you guys about what her version of her 9 to 5 exit plan was, which in summary, it was mindset, declaring what she wanted, the teacher appeared, she taking fast action, utilizing the teacher, utilizing what best fits her, taking a break when needed so that she can focus on the
Mhm.
next phase, which is getting licensed to apply all this stuff for real, for private practice. And now I want you to talk about what it has been like for you to scale your business in terms of offering either physical products and or your services with one-to-one in combination to one-to-many, because physical products
Mhm.
are one-to-many. So can you talk to them about your business now?
Right. So now my business is, I'll say it's free. I get to work with the people who I really like to work with. I get to work with teens and young adults, and I have more time to teach. That's something that I really like to do. So, and I never thought that I would, but now I'm teaching like 20, 25 students twice a week. And just going from what happens in my sessions and what I've experienced being in schools, I just noticed that teens had so much that was just inside of them that they really didn't have a safe place to share anything. It's like my office was it. And just like you, I noticed that there were teens that were talking about the same topics, relationships, how to make friends, um, the challenges that they had, what their goals were. Culture was a big piece, especially over like the last 2 years. And schools were like, oh, we can't talk about race, we can't talk about culture because it's a political, it's like a hot topic. So I said, well, this is what's going on. And teens do need to talk about it. Teens do need to get this out. They do need to express the way that they feel. So I had some little prompts that were on my laptop and talking about community.
Mhm.
Someone in our group, Lori Ford, was like, well, I help people write books. And I just shared with her, okay, I have these little prompts here, whatever. And she's like, you can make a book out of it. And I was like, no, 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 but like a book is for when I become big and people know who I am. And she's like, girl, just write, just come on. So I did her workshop. And from that, I was able to create a teen journal.
Okay,
I have
move it
my
over a little
book.
bit so we, oh, there we go. So we can see it. Yay. And it's a journal
So this
bound
is my,
too, spiral bound.
yes, because y'all know how teens like to throw stuff around. So it's hardcover. But I was very big on making sure that the
Oh, that's nice.
photos look like the teens that I work with, because every time when they get stuff, everybody, it's somebody that they're just like, okay, that's cute, but that's not me.
Hmm.
Um,
And how many did you
but
talk to us about putting it in front of your audience, because you're also serving a special population where a lot of clinicians get stuck because they're like, who am I supposed to be marketing to, the kid or the parent?
So with marketing, I actually marketed to parents, and so many parents were like, "Oh, this is what my kid needs." Like they're not talking to me directly, but I know that there's something that's going on. So really marketing towards them was a tremendous help.
Hmm.
Marketing to other mental health professionals was also important
Yes.
because they can use this in their sessions. And so many of them have already reached out to say, like I'm using prompts in my sessions. So it's really been amazing, actually. Again, working with our community and reaching out to people because y'all, I didn't know anything about writing a book. I didn't know how I was supposed to launch a book and where I should be and how I should talk about it. And the group really assisted me with that. The
Mm-hmm.
mastermind group was really tremendous with that. And people were texting me on the side, they were calling me and implementing everything that I heard, not just listening and say, oh, yeah, 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 like I'm going to do that, but really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to pre sell 173 books.
Woo, wait, hold on, hold
So,
on. Everybody put a one in the comment box. She pre-sold before the books even physically crossed over to the United States because it was on the water,
listen,
right? Because
it
she did
sure
an
was.
opening unhauling box literally last week. Okay,
Yes.
so you done did all that journey. And one thing that I do want to highlight that you mentioned that's really big in our community is collaboration over competition. Is that you
Mm-hmm.
utilized the platform of the program, then you went
Mm-hmm.
deeper on another level and you utilized the people that are in the group. Then you
Right.
took action. Then I know that we talked about launch processes. And so I want people to see full circle. She has
Yeah.
it, like she has the best of both worlds. You have
Yeah.
the curriculum to always go back to, similar to how you were saying when you first start coaching, right? But then you also can utilize people, and I call it bartering services, because in our
Yep.
family, we talked about this in Vegas in November at the end of the year mastermind, where I put you guys in groups, and I'm like, I understand that sometimes you may have to invest in something that your counterpart has because it's an actual program, but there are certain conversations that I believe you guys can barter. There's something that
Right.
somebody may want to know: who did your spiral bound, who did your editing, do they do editing for someone else? And you're gonna be like, well, what you got that I could use too, sis, you know what I'm saying? And then you guys can
Yep.
barter for services because you both want to see each other win. And that's what our community is
Mm-hmm.
about. Just to let everybody
Yeah.
know why she keeps referencing community, because that played a very pivotal role outside of me being a coach. It's the
Right.
community. Okay.
Yeah. You cannot do anything on your own. Like you're going to have your own ideas, you're going to have your own goals, you're going to have your own products and who you serve, but somebody else may have something that you need.
Mm,
And you need to be around people who are not afraid to share that with you,
right.
you know, because
Yeah.
there are a ton of different groups that people have all different types of specialties, but they're not always willing to share because it's like,
Mm.
well, if I share this with you, then that's going to take away from what I'm doing.
And there's plenty
But
of food to eat on this earth. Okay.
listen,
Can you go a little
listen.
deeper on the mastermind? Because I did it was a very good question. And I realized that I had a lot of, I'm going to say material, like content out there telling
Mhm,
people the value points, the benefits of like attending a mastermind, right? Because I know we're having a few this year
mhm,
with you all, and then we're having some for the
mhm.
general public. But can you talk to them about your experience of physically being in a room with mastermind individuals and then what happens after? Because what the question was is like, I can see that the event was fun and people were learning a lot, but like what happens when they leave? So can you talk about the experience then the post?
Okay, so energy on 1,000. I'll say that energy on 1,000. I mean, you're really around people who, like we see everybody on Instagram, and that's one thing. And we kind of build relationships there, but then being in the same space with them and people pouring in to you, that's what people don't see.
Mm,
Like, there really is a lot of work that goes in and so many like ideas. And I think, again, that we are so busy kind of like, when we're at home, there's different things that are going on that our attention can be fleeting.
mhm,
But being in one room with people for 6 7 hours and everybody is working on their business, like you're not taking calls, you're not having a quick session over here like on the side, but you're locked in.
mhm.
um at at first it can be a bit overwhelming because you're like, whoa, this is a lot of information. Like, a lot of people have a lot of great ideas here, and they're sharing, and everybody's just so free in terms of their volunteering of information. So once you have all of that, you have notes and books of pages and things like that, and then you leave with this fire like, all right, it's time to work, it's time to implement. So on the way home, And even like before you leave home, like somebody this year was like, I couldn't even sleep after the
I think
first
she may
night.
be watching Samara. She
I know. It was like, I
And we
can't
were all
even
like,
sleep.
oh, welcome to the group. That's normal. So now I even give a
Right.
disclaimer like, hey, I gave a disclaimer for the people who are going to Vegas and New York this year. I was like, just a little disclaimer because we just had a conversation 2 weeks ago. If you don't get any sleep on the first day, don't think something is abnormal. It's probably not jet lag. It's probably a good thing that you can't sleep.
No, like, nope. So on the plane home, you're like, I don't need the internet. Like, all I need is Word doc. And I wrote my purchase page out like on the way home from Vegas. It's like those few hours right after you're on fire and you're ready to move, and you kind of have your steps for what you want to do. And now it's time to just write it out and implement it.
Yeah.
So you definitely leave.
I was gonna say you had mentioned something that again we're talking to therapists here, so they can just get overwhelmed with you telling them that it's a lot of information and they ain't even been. And so, can you describe the hot seat? Because when I've described this to some people get intimidated to the point where they don't want to do it, and they don't. I explain the value of it, but I want them to hear from someone who went up to
Mm-hmm.
the hot seat willingly, because I don't make anybody do anything with a hot seat. If you want
Right.
10 to 15 minutes, and hell, the one we just did, somebody got like 45 minutes, depending on the question, we will go all the way in a very loving way to make sure that you don't
Yeah.
leave out this room without this information. And so, can you
Yeah.
explain to them what your experience was like on a hot seat?
My experience, I was definitely nervous because you're like, okay, I'm going to share this with people. I'm going to say it out loud, and I hope they think it's okay. I hope it's like, all right. And then you share, what your vision is, what you're trying to do. And the first shock is that people are sitting there like, wow, like you are amazing for coming up with this idea. And you're like, okay. And then they're like, okay, so when I was doing this, this is something that helped me. It's people giving their experience and things to like look out for so that you don't fall when you're trying to get this product or service out there. So I can honestly say that I don't think anyone feels stupid when they're up
Right,
there.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, but the feedback, and I'm sometimes one of the loud ones, but I'm like, girl, or you got this wonderful thing, like, and you charging them $5? Like, this is
Yes,
amazing. Do you know what you can do with this?
yes.
So
Yeah, because
that's
y'all was like some
that's
firecrackers this year. I don't know if it was because y'all have been with each other for a year, like more than half of the room. But what I do also want people to hear is that people in that room will hold you to the fire. So not only are
yeah,
they going to come with their experiences, they're also going to come with, yeah, more ideas because maybe you don't think, maybe people hear it and think a different way and you want to take that. You can record that session and take it back
yeah,
home. But people going in a lightweight check you if you are doing
yeah,
something that's not in alignment with your vision. You went up there and declare what your vision is, and then what the words that are coming out of your mouth is not aligning with that, they're gonna be like, yeah, no, like you're not about to do that. Like that's what's not about to happen.
right,
Like they get
yeah.
really serious.
And that 15 minutes will save you like 10 hours on the
Ooh,
back end.
wait, say that again.
That 10 to 15 minutes, that's all. It's like you're not up there long, but it's so many people, but that will save you like 10 hours, like when you get back home and you're trying to do this, or it'll save you from like agreeing to do something that you get in there like, oh, this is not really what I want to do.
And what you're also saying, I'm gonna put it plain so they can hear it. Your time is money. And so
Yeah.
I want to tie that into investment because and I'm saying this a lot because again, I know my audience because I am my audience, or at least I was my audience at some point. And I did not know what investment meant. And so unless somebody is able to articulate the value of what I'm going to be able to walk away with and it resonates with me, I ain't willing to listen to it. So I hope that you will listen to this. If she's saying that it will save you 10 hours off the top of her head, because she ain't even calculated it, right? And then
Right.
let's just say if I tell you with a master's degree at minimum, even though you may not be charging this amount, that your time is worth 500 bucks an hour. Or let's just say on the minimum scale, you charge 150 for therapy. If we do some basic numbers here, well, let's see. If we do 150, I got to always bring up the calculator. 150 times 10 is $1,500. 10
Mhm.
minutes saved you $1,500. If we go based off your
Yeah.
value, 500 times 10 is $5,000. So somebody may
Yeah.
ask, well, why is the live event $2,222? Well, let me check. The last time I looked at the calculator, 10 minutes of the whole 2 days can get you $5,000 back in time. And you mentioned Lori,
Yeah.
so I am going to bring her up because she's going to come back on the podcast as well. Is that the name of her last podcast episode was 10 minutes turned into $10,000. And a lot of the people, unless they really, really listened to the whole episode, they didn't really understand what we meant by the title. But what we were
Right.
referencing was this hot seat because she went back on the plane, revamped her entire digital product, and scaled that
Yep.
thing in less than 60 days and made her first 10K launch. Put a one in the comment
Hmm.
box if you want those results because y'all just sometimes focusing on how much money you got to give out. And you're not looking at how much
Yeah.
money and time you can get back and being connected
Yeah.
to the right people forever.
Hmm.
you know,
Forever.
forever, ever,
Yeah.
and ever, ever.
Yeah. I mean, it truly is amazing. And my mom and my aunt came the last mastermind that we had, and they didn't even come to a workshop, but just being around us, they could really see that everybody wanted everyone to win,
hmm
and everybody wants the best out of everyone. Like, I don't want to see my sister or my brother over here struggling,
Right.
and I have the answer to help.
hmm hmm
So they saw that, they were inspired. They're like, well, I need to start something. I need to find something to do because
hmm
y'all are on the move.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They
it's
went to the
so
escape room and
important,
everything with us. Like you gonna see real life. Went to Compton with me. You feel me? Went to Roscoe's Chicken
yes,
and Waffles in Inglewood. Tried to do the Randy's
no,
Donuts. Didn't make it. Like that's.
yes. I'm just like, but I got a donut because of community. So my community was at Randy's, and they were like, "What do you want?" I
Like,
said,
girl, give me
"Okay,
that
see these,
bagel.
like, these are my people."
Yeah. So let me ask, because this has been a resonating question that I can answer it for the community, but I still feel like it's always best when they hear it from other people that are not me. Um,
Mm.
this actually question has come up a lot in the last 6 months. So, who would you say? Because I do pop up masterminds, and just to be clear for everybody, Vegas is still sold out. Okay, New York is not. New York has like 1 to 2 seats left because somebody did express interest yesterday, so I got to email her today. But I do want people to hear this for later. If I have another event, who would you say? Like, well, let me rephrase that. What would a therapist have to have in place in order for them to get the most out of coming to a mastermind? Because some people just see your end result and they hear the last part of the interview, which is mastermind, and they say, boom, that's where I need to be. I need to be in person. So, who would you say would be a great candidate? Like, what do they need to have in order to
Mhm.
get the most out of it?
I think you have to have some sort of vision for who you want to work with or what you want to do. You don't have to have all of the answers, you
hmm
know, but you have to have a mindset. You have to have a drive to want to work, because it just makes no sense for you to pay to come and then not do anything afterwards.
Mm.
like,
Say that again.
that's a waste of money. Yeah, so really having that drive to work, someone who is serious about what their mission is, what their goal is, and just having an idea so that you can sharpen it.
hmm
So there, like, I'm gonna be honest and I'm not gonna front. There are tons of people who are like, oh, like, well, I want to get down, like I want to be with y'all. And it's like, okay, but I know you, and I kind of know that you don't like to work. You don't like to be held accountable for what you do. So this may not be the right fit for you right now,
hmm
but there are definitely people who, if you know that you're not happy with where you are right now, and if you know that there's more that you want to do, but you just don't know how, then this is the place where you need to be. Um, and you need to be comfortable with investing in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, to say, if I want to go further, then what do I have to do to get there?
Mm-hmm.
And take a leap of faith. Like, this whole thing is a faith walk, because like I said before, you're not going to know what the end product, like what the end goal or product is, until you take the first step.
Yeah.
So we like to have everything planned out. We like to know what's going to come next. But this is a roller coaster that you're like, oh shoot,
Yeah, let's
I
be all
have
the way
no.
real. It is definitely a roller coaster, but you're the driver of the roller coaster.
Yeah,
Let's be all the way real, because some people will blame the
yeah.
economy. Therapists can't blame the economy. Out of everybody, we are safe. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, in terms of like revenue generating ideas and making it profitable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't, like, my coach always shares this, and I want to give her full credit. Dr. Sasha Pierce, she's a manifestation expert, and she always says, like, in her crowd, you don't have a money problem, you have an idea problem. And that
Yeah.
always resonates every time she says it with myself and other people in the room. Because if I ever hear any of my clients say, whether it's DTA or any other program, that, you know, I'm not getting any clients, or I get podcast submissions, like, I'm marketing, that'd be the question. I'm marketing and doing everything I can, but I'm not getting any clients. And I'm like, okay, are you sounding like one of my clients right now? Like my therapy clients. Like, I give them a strategy and they say, I tried that already, it doesn't work. Well, how many times are you going to tell me that? Because you ain't tried everything on this earth. And even if you did, you ain't
Right.
perfected it. You tried it for 1 week. It didn't turn out best as you wanted it to, because you depended on
Right.
5 people to see your stories. 5 people. And you got 1,000
That's
followers and 5 people saw your
yeah.
story. You can keep posting the same damn picture every damn day. Okay. And so, have you tried everything? No. You know what I'm saying? But be
Right. Yeah.
consistent. And I wanted you to kick off of our scaling conversation this year, because
Mm-hmm.
I have been working with you along with the other few, like, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is
Yeah.
a marathon. It is a
Yeah.
marathon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I know that you spoke about your book. Let me ask, where can people find out? And we're going to go back and put this in the show notes for the podcast. We're going to, when our show notes get ready for everybody, we're going to go put it on the YouTube channel later, so people who watch the replay can get it, like this week, but this is live. Where can people go find you and find this book?
Okay. If you are on Instagram, you can find me at Pivotal Point Psych. My website is www.pivotalpointpsych.com. Y'all, I keep it all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find my book right there. If you're on Instagram, I do have a QR code, so you can scan it there. You can find me there. Um, yeah, that's about it. On Facebook, you can find me at Rochelle Robinson Side.
Okay. And then another quick question, just because we are approaching Mental Health Awareness Month, and my YouTube live yesterday, I had spoke to paid speaking engagements. And so if
Mm-hmm.
somebody is watching and they want to utilize your expertise and have you come talk to their group of teens, whether it's at a church, community center, girls group, school, can they contact you the same way, like through your website or social media?
Yes, you can contact me on my website.
Okay.
So, on my website, if you go to the services page, you will be able to fill out my little form, and you tell me what you're looking for. We get some dates,
Mm-hmm.
and my response time is great. And I'll say that because I learned from Dr. TK. So I'm not going to have you waiting for 6 days. You will get a response. You'll get a
Yes.
response in 24 hours.
Yes. So I do want to close out by just letting people know the importance of community and collaboration, the importance of connecting with one another and utilizing one another's expertise, not as competition, but working together as collaborators in the field. There's enough food to eat on a table, and we build our own tables here. We are our own bank accounts, right?
Mhm.
And if you are interested, whether it be in private practice and or the mastermind, then all you have to do is inbox me. Okay. So for New York, I want to be clear. We are meeting in New York because this question came a few times. So I'm like, let me just say it out loud then, because I didn't know that many people were going to be interested. I'm like, oh, okay. And so we'll be in New York. Actually, I'm going to be there for a whole week. Ooh, I ain't never been there for 7 days. So we're going to see how this work with this inflation. But
Listen.
nevertheless, I got our tickets already, so we're good. The whole family's coming out. So we're going to be out there for a week because not only do we have the elite coaching mastermind, we have our students, Dr. Rochelle, along with another group, like 19 people, right? We're going to be there. Wednesday and Thursday, July 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. But we're also going to have a pop-up mastermind Monday and Tuesday of the exact same week so that I could just have a whole fun-filled week, okay? So we have 2 spots left because no spot is taken until you put down a deposit. Just want to be clear about that. And so if you want to learn about and implement in your business, even if you don't think it's important, because it is, and she can probably attest to this, email marketing, learning about growth versus scale, learning about and implementing a Black Friday sales funnel because I believe in doing things early versus last minute. We also give every single person that shows up a hot seat, which is why the groups are very intimate, like 8 people, because in their mastermind this year, we have a total of 21 students. And so we have smaller hot seats, but then we like at their table, but then we also ask some of them, if you have a burning situation that's happening in your business, bring it to the front of the group. And this year, I think we have 4 hot seats that came up in front of the group, and we were able to pour into them like no other. Ooh, this one was good, right? And the theme was outside of collaboration. Ooh, walk on faith, because ooh, we. But they were like those clinicians got that fire. Okay. And so if you want to come to that group mastermind, it's a total of no more than 8 clinicians. All you have to do is you can inbox me, or you can, I would say, text me. If you text me at 310-388-8603 and just say like, I'm interested in New York, then we'll chat. Now, just note, I'm going to ask you, what do you have going on in your business right now? So you may just want to tell me via text, and then I can send you a voice message back to let you know if what you said matches what we cover, because I want you to be able to take actionable steps when you leave. But outside of that, if you want to have a shortcut to contact Dr. Rowe, you can go on Instagram at Dr. TK Psych. I tagged her on the photo for this YouTube live, like I said. And I think, you know what, as part of this YouTube live, I already put your Instagram handle actually and your website. Okay. So you can go ahead and click that, check out her book, grab you a copy, even if you ain't got no teenager, you know what I'm saying? Gift it to somebody for Christmas. Listen. Yep. Okay. Any parting words that you want to leave clinicians who, how do I want to say this? They're on the fence about investing in them, not investing in Dr. TK. They're on the fence about investing in them, like their career, their mindset.
Think about where you want to be. Think about what you deserve in this life, you know, and where you really want to be. Because sometimes the only way that we can get there is if we actually put money to where we want to go. And that is priceless. Mm-hmm. You know, like the happiness that you want to have in your life. Mm-hmm. So this is minimal compared to what you will get on the other side. So step out on faith, you know, have your plan and for, you know, what you want to do, and make it happen.
That's good.
Move.
Exactly. Move. Right. And remember, purpose over perfection, y'all. Just get started.
Yes.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, who tuned in live. Those of you who are watching the recording, definitely connect with Dr. Rowe. I definitely want to show my level of appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Not only did she show her OG-ness, you know what I'm saying, today, but she also showed it, y'all. If y'all ain't checked out her page, you know, she posted pictures of me taking her around in Compton, you know, doing our little quick tour. Then we took them on Crenshaw, you know, because that's how we get down, you know what I'm saying, in the mastermind. so y'all get to spend time and see the all the way me, because I don't change from Instagram to real life. Like, you just see more goofiness, I'll say. But, like me just dancing in the corner on my own or something, you know. But outside of that, maybe I'll see you in Vegas if you already signed up. Maybe I'll see you in New York if you want to come. Outside of that, stay connected. We do have some awesome things coming up for those who are interested in private practice, actually within the next like a week and a half. Okay. Because a lot of people missed this last one, so I'm gonna bring it back, but I'll let you guys know how that's going to go down. Stay connected, and I will talk to you all in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys.